Did you know? Next to the word dark in the game's logo is what appears to be a set of quotes which was inspired by Dakuten marks used in Japanese writing. The title Perfect Dark was also partly drawn from director Martin Hollis's affection for grammatically incorrect English in Japanese media. The odd grammar was also a product of randomly attaching cool-sounding words to each other in order to come up with a name. The team decided very early on that they wanted a female lead. While designing her, the team took inspiration from several sources. This included Ghost in the Shell, The X-Files, and the real-life historical figure Joan of Arc, or as she's called in French, Jeanne d'Arc. This served as the basis for Joanna Dark's name. During development, Nintendo asked Rare to hire an American voice actress for the role of Joanna. This didn't sit well with Rare. After a string of unsuccessful auditions, the role ultimately went to the game's composer, Evelyn Novakovic. The job of providing motion capture for Joanna fell to designer Duncan Botwood, who was given a pair of high heels to wear during his performances. In an interview, Botwood reminisced, "That's not a good memory, and it wasn't a good result either." In order to get quality animations for Joanna, the team would try to elicit authentic reactions from Botwood. For example, if they needed an animation for getting shot in the shoulder, they would jab him in the shoulder with a stick. And if they needed an animation for Joanna being sent flying, they would tie a rope around Botwood's body and prepare to yank him backwards on the count of 3, but then pull him on the count of 1. Perfect Dark was originally going to include a feature that would allow players to map custom faces onto in-game characters. The feature, dubbed Perfect Head, worked by connecting to the Game Boy camera through the Nintendo 64 transfer pack. After importing a picture into the game, the player can then adjust its size, shape, brightness, depth, style, and color of the hair. After editing, the customized heads could be applied to the guards in the single-player campaign or to characters in the multiplayer combat simulator. While Perfect Head did work and was even included as a part of the game's initial E3 reveal, the feature was ultimately cut from the game before release. Rare's official explanation for Perfect Head's removal was that actually using the custom heads caused the game to crash. However, it came to light that it was removed because developers realized that they couldn't control who or what players would take pictures of. Anti-video game sentiment was prominent in the media in the wake of the Columbine shooting, and the shooting game featuring enemies resembling real-life people most likely wouldn't have gone over well. There are other remnants of cut content still present in the game's code, including at least 3 planned levels that were never finished. There's an additional bonus mission called Retaking the Institute, a single-player version of the Skeeter Combat Simulator, and a level called Rooftop that was described as being not up to scratch. There are also 3 unused music tracks, an alternate version of the Death theme, a comedic musical jingle, and what seems to be an alternate version of the Deep Sea Nullify Threat track. This third track was actually used in an early trailer for the game. One of the game's more unique leftovers is a pair of usernames and passwords that can be unlocked which serve no purpose in the game whatsoever. 2 marketing websites, CarringtonInstitute.com and Datadyne.com, were set up before the game was released. The login information was intended to be used on these sites to access additional supplementary material, but this feature was never implemented. Every level in Perfect Dark contains a hidden piece of cheese. These cheese wedges cannot be interacted with in any way, and finding them accomplishes nothing aside from encouraging players to explore. Fans have often speculated what the cheese meant, and now one Perfect Dark developer has an answer for them. According to artist B. Jones, she told environmental artist Ross Burry that part of the president's plane, which Ross was modeling, looked like a wedge of cheese. From then on, Ross left a wedge of cheese in every level as a sort of calling card. Shooting all of the wine bottles in the cellar of the villa will also cause Carrington to scold Joanna.
Act your age, Joanna.
Hidden inside the safe at the end of the G5 building level is an award from the British Academy of Film and Television Arts. This is a tongue-in-cheek reference to the same award Rare had previously won for their work on GoldenEye. In the multiplayer mode, among the various selectable heads are the faces of Nintendo's Shigeru Miyamoto and Ken Lobb. Lobb is a Nintendo employee who worked closely with Rare during the development of GoldenEye. Another GoldenEye reference found in Perfect Dark's multiplayer are the 4 dinner jackets. The jackets are based on the suits worn by Sean Connery, Pierce Brosnan, Timothy Dalton, and Roger Moore during their portrayals of James Bond. Rare originally wanted to include the 4 as playable characters in GoldenEye's multiplayer, but weren't unable to because of licensing issues. Some of the secrets hidden in the game were placed there solely to confuse players. The Area 51 level hides a mysterious keyhole that serves no purpose. In the multiplayer level Warehouse, the player can reach a grate on the ceiling featuring a question mark design and an ammo crate that cannot be reached. During the opening cutscene, as the camera is sweeping over the city, a sign advertising Anal Land can be seen very briefly. A Perfect Dark prequel for the Game Boy Color was released in conjunction with the N64 game. After completing the tutorial level in the Game Boy game, the player can find a poorly drawn cow painted on one of the walls outside. Unofficially dubbed the Rare Cow, this is a recurring Easter egg that appeared in several handheld games developed by Rare, including Donkey Kong Country, Banjo-Kazooie Grunty's Revenge, Conker's Pocket Tales, and Mickey's Racing Adventure. When Perfect Dark was released in Japan, it came with a variety of alterations. Additional shield pickups were added to many levels on the Perfect Agent difficulty to make them easier, and the combat knife weapon was removed from the game. The blood splatter effect when a character is shot and the pools of blood beneath dead characters were both removed as well. Dead bodies also disappear after a short period of time. Because this frees up additional memory, the Japanese version of the game runs slightly smoother than the other versions. Joanna's character model also has an updated facial texture, changing her hairstyle and facial features. In the American and European versions of the game, the mission The Duel gives the character Jonathan's full name as Jonathan Dark, implying that he is Joanna's brother. No connection between the two is established in the plot, however. In Perfect Dark Zero, Jonathan was renamed as Jonathan Steinberg in order to retcon the sibling relationship. According to the developers at Rare, Jonathan was Joanna's brother in early drafts of the story, but this was dropped before release, and his surname in Perfect Dark was just an error that managed to slip by them. Since you're watching this video, you're probably into games and sci-fi in general. If so, consider subscribing to Loot Crate. Loot Crate is a monthly subscription service that delivers a box of gaming and pop culture merch to your door. This month's Loot Crate is themed around the future and is packed with goodies from Rick and Morty, Futurama, Mega Man, and Star Trek. The crates have a different theme each month, and all loot relates to that theme. A subscription is less than $20 per month, and crates are guaranteed to have a value of $40 or more. Loot Crate is offering DidYouKnowGaming viewers 10% off your subscription. So if you like unique gaming collectibles and want to support DidYouKnowGaming, head over to lootcrate.com/DYKG and enter the code DYKG for 10% off any new subscription. You can get there by clicking the link below. Did you know that Perfect Dark had multiple canceled sequels? To hear more about those, you'll have to click the annotations on screen. Don't forget to subscribe to DidYouKnowGaming for more facts and trivia. And if you liked this video, consider giving it a like or a share. And what's up? I'm Austin Eruption from Arcadia, and kind of related here, we talk about Perfect Dark Zero in the top 10 worst sequels of all time for video games. I don't like it.